Across the Park podcast is proud to be sponsored by Globe Gas and Heating. For the best kitchen and bathroom renovations, boiler servicing and repair, and central and underfloor heating in the Northwest, head over to globecentralheating.com and quote Across the Park for a free quote.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Across the Park podcast. Filming on location for Millsy.
On location at one of Judgy's many UK properties.
No, just in a sunny Crosby today, lovely day. But again, it's been a lovely weekend for Blues. Massive result. Not a point that I think we expected to get.
Bonus point.
Bonus point, yeah, because you know. If you're like us, and I think most Blues have done it, you've charted through where you think we'll get our points, where we think we get our results. Not many people would have been predicting more than a defeat there, but so many positives to say how's that game, wasn't it?
Loads. And going back to what you're saying there about predicting things, some fans did, and I've seen it on our socials. Some fans were saying, Chelsea were 10th and they weren't the best team. I think worrying for me is they were hitting form, weren't they? They had 3 wins prior to playing us. So it was one of those games I looked at and I said to you on the show, we're running out of games now, and that's why I was so worried, because the games that were coming up were difficult. But so many positives. I thought, because we were under so much pressure at times and then breaking, it's sort of because the game was flowing that way, I could actually see more of an identity, because the game was that open. You could see how we were defending. We were pushing them wide all the time. Our midfielders were like, you're not getting through this, go wide. And then you see why Michael Keane's in the team. True, because Michael Keane was winning so many headers. I think there's a stat out there that he won 80% of his aerial duels. And that was because we're forcing the issue. Go wide. We've got 2 big centre-halves at the back. It won't pull up any trees. Probably won't.
Love defending crosses.
But they'll love defending
crosses.
And
attacking crosses. To be fair,
and they were clearing it. The only danger with that is, I think one of their goals came from this, is that second ball. Then our midfield at times weren't picking up that second ball. They were having a few shots from outside the box, but I could see an identity on Saturday. Not that I haven't seen it, because I've seen it against Arsenal, but in my mind, the Arsenal game and the Leeds game at the time, I'm thinking, this is one-off. But I could see that we took that home form into Saturday night. Really, very pleasing to watch for me.
Really pleasing performance, or one of the particular positives for me, Doucoure. He plays in a role kind of, off the forward a little bit, didn't he? He was definitely getting a lot more freedom up there. He seems to find a few extra yards of pace, whether it's because the wife's giving him a bit of stick, his contract running out, he needs to try and find the wages for next year. But great performance from him, an assist and a goal, which is priceless at this stage of the season.
He's playing, for me, with the bit between his teeth. Yeah. And he's one of those players, when we were talking about players who can step up, I think we'd done an instant match reaction after the Southampton game. And we both agreed that the personnel on that pitch, we had to get better, because there's no one really out there that we trusted and relied on. He's come out of nowhere, that bit between his teeth, and maybe that's a little bit where he had a bust up with the previous manager. Yeah. And we know that Frank Lampard banished him from training. He wasn't in the dressing room at Finch Farm. He was training at different times.
Nias-esque, isn't it?
Yeah. But maybe he's come back and look, we don't know what happened with Frank, but it looks to me, speculating that the dressing room and the management team sort of went like that. And Doucoure's been welcomed back in by that bunch of players, and he's just got the bit between his teeth. He's selfless in his play. He's dragging defenders. He's helping out defensively. He's charging goalkeepers now in the press. If you notice the press, that's what he's doing. He's going for the goalkeeper and trying to force that.
The spare man, really effectively, isn't he? In that shape, it's like a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-5-1, but he's given that license to kind of just go and get involved.
Ends, help the midfielders when they need it. And
it was basically what Iwobi was doing this time last year, wasn't it? Iwobi was that man was just chasing things all over the pitch. Yeah. But he'd obviously give Iwobi that role. Doucoure that role, and again, I thought he was excellent. But for me, regardless of all that running, the assists and the goals are what we need this stage of the season. We got himself in the right place at the right time, which we haven't had many players who've done that. He's done it against Forest, obviously, the week before, where he's got in that area again. And his touch. But, we'll come on to Ellis Simm's goal in a bit, but his touch for Ellis Simm's goal, he just guides it into his path. It was
such a quick transition. Man.
It was.
It was Michalenko, Doucoure, and goal, almost. Yeah. 2 touches from Sims.
Before we do come on to that, obviously, it was another game where Michalenko's found himself host the team, and Godfrey again, I thought was outstanding, but made a change quite late on. I was thinking, you're 2-1 down, you're thinking, come on, is that all we've got? We're going to bring one full back on for another, but that quality in terms of him finding a pass, Mykolenko from deep, probably not something you would have seen from Godfrey, but it was an interesting change, wasn't it?
It was more refreshing that it wasn't Davis or Morpay.
Yeah.
Because they're the changes that we've been having, and fair play, it's worked most weeks, or 60% of the time it's worked. Refreshing for me. I don't know whether it was Coleman was tiring. There's a lot of miles on Coleman's legs in a short space of time now. And we spoke, I think, last week when I was here talking about, people at Finch Farm who said that Everton were really comfortable with Coleman and allowed Nathan Patterson to put some under-21 games in his legs and stuff. But time is maybe coming for Patterson to come back in. But I think the Mykolenko substitution, I think it was a little bit maybe a forced one. I don't think it was a tactical one.
No, I'm not sure. I'm not sure it was myself either. But again, I think we spoke so many times about players coming on and making an impact. It doesn't always have to be the forward players.
Yeah, true.
He's coming in, and I think one thing you'd say about him, he's solid, and he's reliable. You know what you're going to get from him. But again, I think if you can produce a little bit more like that, because it was a positive pass. I don't think you see that often enough from him. It's often sideways and short, but if he's got that in his locker more often, and maybe that's something they've worked on, is getting that ball into the middle to final thirds a little bit earlier and getting into feet as opposed to just lumping it up.
He's probably looked up and seen 2 6'4" players up top, Doucoure and Ellis Simm, and just thought at the time of the situation and the personnel up there, lump it up. Going back to your point, credit to Doucoure, right? That holds up play was brilliant where he finds the space. And then the run from Sims against Koulibaly, who's arguably been one of the best defenders in the world over recent years, and to turn a pace like that.
It was,
Not getting overexcited with Ellis Sims. I don't think it's right that we come on here and now say lash him in.
No, listen, he's very raw, and in fairness, that's what we heard from the Sunderland fans when we took him back. It was like, look, we've used him off the bench, and he's been a good impact player off the bench, but he's not ready to be starting games, and we don't need him to start games. I don't think we do.
No,
I don't think we do. I think we're obviously still hoping that Calvert-Lewin will be back in the next few weeks. Demarai Gray again, I thought held the mantle very well up there, and I thought
selfless again. A lot of work with the team.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think he's definitely shown me a different side of him. I mean, I say that. I've always said that he does put a shift in, but it's just a little bit sometimes thoughtless in the way that he runs. He's definitely thinking a lot, or he's being coached a lot more on how to press, and how to kind of put the opposition under pressure and which direction to show them in. And as you say, it's a little bit easier for that front man, though. If you are that front man, and you know that the instruction is to get the opposition to push the ball wide, all you need to do is split the 2 centre-backs and go, well, at least I'm telling my midfielders it's going that way then, and I'm giving them a chance to start moving across. And I think he's doing that really well. And because he's got that bit of pace, he can get there quicker.
Well, that bit of pace, you remember in the first half where I think McNeil beat a man and we were in, and Demarai Gray made a really good run. I think McNeil lost his feet a little bit and ended up going out for a goal kick. But I remember watching it and watching Demarai Gray's run where he's staying on the shoulders, and you're like, that's brilliant forward play.
But again, you can see as well that the instruction from Dyche is when you get the ball in that middle to final third, whoever you are, whether you're a winger, midfielder, I want you to drive forward and I want you to make the opposition back off. And we've seen the stat about us playing less passes, but it's not just the direct play. It is the players in that middle to final third actually being more positive when they get in there and going and beating a man like Ellis Sims did. McNeil's done a few times. I thought he looked more on the front foot than he has been, I think, since we've signed him.
He looks more confident. I don't know whether it's the Dyche effect or... If you remember, I think he scored the goal against Southampton away, and he put a social media post up and he said, I've been working on my self-confidence. And he put a very, very similar quote out there, I think after the Arsenal game, where he said, I've been quite low and I'm working on it. So maybe he's just that player that once he does get a bit of form, he gets better. I
think he's a player, I've said it to a few different people now, he's a player that just latches on to simple instructions. He just wants to be told, this is your role, bang, bang, do these 2 things when you get the ball. You get the feeling, and I don't want to start jumping on the being critical of Lampard bandwagon because I don't think there's any need to do that, but you do get the feeling there's a few players in there that maybe the game was a little bit overcomplicated for, and he was expecting things of them that he maybe was able to produce as a player, and his Chelsea teammates were able to produce, and the Mason Mounts were able to do, but our players are a lot more, they're a lot more limited, aren't they? They're a lot more limited, and I think the one thing that it looks like Dyche has brought to that forward aspect is just keeping it simple, and to McNeil, it's when you get the ball, if you can't run at someone, cross it, try and cross it, and it might get a
work
corner.
Work your limitations.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
You're good at, just do that. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't go for a 1-2. Don't try and beat a man if you're not confident. If you're up against a really good right back,
kick it against them. Get your corner. Get your throw.
Your limitations. And maybe you're looking at Sean Dyche. He talks in his press conferences about the hard yards. He keeps saying the hard yards, which I love. And he even has a comment where he said, "Look, I was a limited player, and I had to work so hard to be what I am." I think he's instilling it in the dressing room with no disrespect. You have a limited bunch, so make up for it with the hard yards, and that's what we're seeing on Saturday.
And as you say, you're seeing that a bit more self-belief. Nothing better. Best part of the whole performance for me was coming from behind, and coming from behind twice. Away from home against again, regardless of the season, they've got a very strong group of players, and and a tough place to go, Stamford Bridge, whoever you are, but to come from behind twice for a team that's been down there so often and has folded so often when they've been behind there's not more encouraging than that, was there?
Yeah, again, because Chelsea are just hitting a bit of form. They've just come off on the back of 3 wins before they played us.
Champions League wins as well.
Champions League wins as well, and I think the manager, I think he's starting to get a little bit of appreciation from their fans, and the media seems to be with Potter and them. They were in a good moment at Chelsea, so to go and play them on Sky on a Saturday night at their place was a very, very difficult game. On paper, it was always going to be difficult, and at times it was difficult. I don't think we started particularly well.
No.
But yet, the thing is, we're running out of games, and it's just throwing points on the board now. Because everyone else, the most frustrating thing about it is everyone else is doing it.
That win from Leeds I didn't see that one coming.
Southampton
getting a point. Yeah, I mean, and Palace. I'm gonna put it out there now because I've said it enough in our own WhatsApp groups. I think that's an awful decision to bring Hodgson back. I mean, they might get a win in terms of maybe the fans and that little bounce, but
Watford tried it.
I remember seeing him at was it West Brom as well.
At West Brom, I think he was all right at West Brom, to be honest.
No, but Watford
was the one where he
looked frail, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just looked like he really was.
There's that picture of him with the sunglasses on the bench. Just looking like he took your granddad out.
That's the start. I know. God bless him. He's something of a hero to us for what he's done to them across the park for a few months, but or certainly a bit of a.
Look, they've rolled the dice pass, haven't they? They've rolled it.
I think they've made a big mistake there, but. You're looking where they are on the table now. It doesn't look as bad from a positional point of view. But Steve Parish obviously said enough times, that we're close there, and he justified that as the reason why he's.
Yeah, I was reading a good article in the Athletic about the Palace thing and Vieira. Vieira was out of sort. He had a nightmare Christmas camp or something. He took them away. And it didn't quite work. But Parish is referencing internally that's a club that can't afford to go down. They've not budgeted. They're not ready to go down, so they press the button.
Yeah, no, but. I think that's significant for me. Wolves, as you say, Lopetegui really starts to looks like he's losing his way now, and they look to be kind of going back to the position they were in at the start of the season. So they're now starting to be the teams that you think might get pulled in. But
do you think it's a benefit that there's that many teams interchanging, or do you think you'd rather it just be versus 2 others?
I think it is because I think it starts to become psychological, and a few people like Burnley fans have said this to me that Dyche loves that. He loves kind of preying on. Remember he done it to us at Turf Moor last year. He was throwing loads of stuff in the media, weren't he, before the game, saying about Lampard. He didn't think that
other teams don't know how to win.
That's it. And there's all them planting them seeds, and he likes that. And a few Burnley fans have said it that he'll be relishing other sides getting dragged into it because he'd be playing them mind games in the press when we're playing them and stuff like that, and they get worked against us because we went in front but we folded, didn't we? We folded.
I think we led twice that night. I think.
But it was in the players' head. We don't know how to win here, and once they got level, it was like we were gone.
It's mad though looking at the table because are you thinking even on Saturday before our game? I was watching the live league table, and we were moving so up and down. It's so tight.
It is.
It's desperate for someone to just put 3 wins back to back and go, we're out of it now.
I know.
Enjoy your time there, we're out of it.
I know.
I just want that to be us.
But you can. I think, and you don't want to get carried away, and we've got to come on to Ellis Simm in a moment, and that's on the same note, we don't want to get carried away.
Yeah.
But I think, I do have a bit more belief now, just in terms of the mentality of the players looks a lot stronger. The manager seems like he knows how to get points up, and that was the big thing we spoke about when Lampard was dismissed, is that we were concerned that he doesn't know how to get a point, doesn't know how to just kind of go, okay, and he's not strong enough for those group of players to lean on. But they've clearly got that dependable manager now, haven't they?
He looks and feels like a manager.
Looks like he's
he...
holding that pressure, isn't he? He's holding it well. You know what I mean? And I think that's important to players who've had a tough time. And again, we spoke about how to their core, some of them are so weak, aren't they? Literally the minute that the chips are down, they just go.
There's such a big difference in what you're seeing, and I'll give all credit to the manager, because it's the same group of players, arguably worse off. Anthony Gordon, depending on your feelings, Anthony Gordon, arguably worse off. And to see what they're giving and doing, and what I'm saying about Dyche there is when I look at him and listen to him, I actually feel and see an Everton manager. With Lampard, I felt like I just liked him. He had that connection to me because he was Frank Lampard in a weird way. I was happy that for him.
Just a charming man.
And he said the right things, didn't he? He blew that much smoke about us, and rightfully so, because at the time we needed it. That he actually forced the connection with Lampard, and it worked. Dancing on the main stand when we stayed up, and all that, and those images, and psychologically that can make you like someone probably more than you should. But with Dyche, in a weird way, I don't have that like. With Lampard, at times, I had those love heart emojis, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I haven't got that with Dyche, but I've got more respect. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I always try and refer to like footy and whatever as business and work, and it's like, we've all had them bosses in the past, and he's everyone's best mate, and he's liking you, and you love him, but when you think about it, he's actually very good at his job. Boss, do you know what I mean? But then the bosses that you tend to kind of have respect for, and you kind of maybe, every now and again, you're having a little, fuck, it does my head in him, but then you perform for them.
You know orders and
exactly.
Stuff,
So it is. I think it's dead similar. I don't think necessarily that Dyche is everyone's best friend, and I don't think he's trying to be everyone's best friend. But I think he earns their respect from the way that he carries himself and the standards that he's got himself. But anyway, just obviously need to touch on the young lad Ellis Simm. We mentioned before that he's going to be an impact player, but it's a huge goal for him, and it's a huge goal for this group, because they know now they have potentially got someone who comes off the pitch that. I think it's tough when you're a player, and again I played a lot lower down the ladder, when you've got a young person who's coming, you don't really know what he's capable of, and maybe they're seeing a little bits in training, but you still don't trust them to put that ball into him and go on, you go and do something. But he's again doing it against the Chelsea and against a tough opponent in Koulibaly, and finishing the way he did late on. That's going to earn a bit more trust from his teammates as well when he comes on now to go put that ball in, and he can finish it.
And he came out, didn't he, after it? And we put this on our socials as quote, that he's been working so hard, and it's a dream come true to get that first Premier League goal. What you're getting at there, and I completely agree with, probably more important for the players around him to go, now we've actually got someone who's not going to hit it, who can. He's not going to hit the floodlights, he's not going to do nothing. What I've seen so far of Sims, and I've only seen little bits, at Anfield, it was a hard game for him. I don't think he's someone who would give you 90 minutes of playing as a lone striker and pressing and doing all things for you, the way Calvert-Lewin was 3 or 4 years ago. I don't think he's that. So what you have got to use him in the way we've used him on Saturday. Like, okay, we need a goal here. I'm looking at Morgan, I'm looking at Sims. I'll throw Sims on. I trust Sims more. If Sims hadn't got that goal and we'd got beat 2-1, or arguably someone else comes on and Gray gets the goal, it's still been one or the other, wouldn't it?
He's still going, I'm not really sure. He's now got... Dyche and the group now have got another option, haven't they? They've got someone else that they know, okay, we can put it up to him. He's shown the potentially, he can make the ball stick and whatever, but it's they changed the psyche for the centre-backs as well, because the next centre-back he's playing against is thinking, hold on, I can't get too tight. I can't get too tight here. I've got to actually, and then that earns you a bit more respect. It gives you a bit more space. It helps your teammates, because they maybe draw 2 defenders into him thinking, we don't want that to happen again. We've seen what he can do, 1v1. I think, honestly, it sounds quite dramatic, but it changes the whole dynamic, I think, of his role in the squad.
I'd hate to have just a striker on there now that we know can come on and score. And what I'll compare him to, and I don't mean this in any negative way. Chibi, where he was never that good. He was never going to be your number 9. Yeah. But by God, if you're drawing that's 10 minutes left.
Exactly the type of goal you'd expect Victor to score.
Big Vic on, he'll pin a defender. He'll work hard, he's limited, but he can also score a goal for you. So, look, and it takes the pressure off Dominic Calvert-Lewin now, doesn't as well. If we weren't scoring goals and we were losing games, the pressure ramps up to throw him back in. And the reason he keeps breaking down is because you're arguably throwing him back in when he's not ready. Once again now, we've got an international break.
You'd like to think, surely, wouldn't you? Come on.
Yeah, but I like the fact now that I'm not, and people could disagree, fine, I'm not desperate for him to come back in. I'm now looking and going, if he's fit for the Tottenham game, I don't think Tamari Gray loses a shirt for me.
No, I agree. I don't think that's going to happen in any way, shape or form. I think for all the reasons we've said about the way that Dyche has carried himself and the messages given to the players, that would send out completely the wrong message, wouldn't it, to drop Damari Gray. But I also think Gray's going to relish that. Hold on, well, he's back now. I've got to score. Because you haven't you? Thinking he's got to score to keep staying in the team, and all those things. Then you've got, you've got Sims. He's going to play a role there. You've got Damari Gray, who's had a few good performances, understands the role of that Dyche wants that lone striker to play. He's got a few goals himself. I think they're all huge positives that I didn't think we would expect to have after a few games.
Oh yeah. So when Lampard was sacked,
you're looking around, aren't you?
I weren't expecting Doucoure and Gray to be the two, and now I'm sitting here. We're moving into end of March again. Used this phrase a few times, running out of games, and I'm happy they're in the 11. I feel better with them two in the team.
You're actually looking forward to the games running out when you're outside of it. It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm not. Listen, a game can change everything, and again, I want to say it again. We don't want to get carried away. A defeat in the next game and all the other teams winning, and we're suddenly right back in there. But I think you've got to be optimistic after the last couple of games.
Yeah, and look, the old Evertonian in me when we went 1-0 down on Saturday was like, that's gone.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be like that. It's drilled into me, that's an Everton thing. And those players out there on Saturday night to come back twice, it probably fans who agree with me, fans who are like me. That's what we need to watch. That's what we need to believe in this team. Because as Judgy said there, we get beat by Tottenham and Wolves, Leicester and West Ham, all win. Then we're going to be needing the team. Going to need us again at some point. Goodison's going to have to be rocking. I know the sirens were back, weren't they, for the last home game. I think it's the 1878 group for helping out with that and more flags and stuff. So I'm not sitting here by all means, and there's no vodka in this. I'm not that confident. There's a long way to go, but it's just nice to be coming off a game and just going, not in the relegation zone, but actually playing well. Yeah,
exactly. And again, I think you're coming out of the last few games or the last couple of games, and there's been different positives as well, which I think is really good. And you're touching on at the start how dependable that back four has been, even conceding 2 goals the weekend, but there was clearly a way of defending that was good enough to get us a point. Yeah, Ben Godfrey I think is important in his piece, because to bring Michael Keane and James Tarkowski, or to bring Michael Keane to play next to Tarkowski in the style we've just discussed, where you're not inviting crosses, but that's the way you're going to get together, is you need someone to recover. And he's got that recovery page. You've seen it a few times against the guy who scored for them, what's his name? Portuguese. No, the winger. Portuguese, not Fernandes is the midfielder, Argentinian. Portuguese. Who's the cycle scored for them on Saturday? Havertz scored the first. Yeah. Oh, João Felix. João Felix, yeah. He's Portuguese, I think. Yeah, he is. Yeah. So there was a few times in the first half where Godfrey's pace against him was brilliant. Like he was just recovering. So again, going back to watching an identity, I'm just watching little things and going, that makes sense. I'm like relishing now, like Godfrey and Patterson. Like a fully fit Patterson. Yeah. But again, that's not to belittle the role that Seamus Coleman's played, and again, we can't wax lyrical enough about how dependable he's been despite his age. But again, you're looking at players coming back now, and you're thinking they could really make a difference. Well, Patterson's one. I love Coleman. I've always loved him. A couple of years ago, he was on my little lad shirt. 23 Yours mine as well. He's on just, and he's someone who cares, and you look at him and he hates. And I think the Brentford game where he won a goal kick at the park end, and he's celebrating like he's a goal. I've got that connection to him, but to remove myself from that, probably time for Nathan Patterson to come back in. Well, listen, we're going into an international break, which again, it's so nice considering we come out. It needs a bit of a breather. I feel like I need a bit of a breather. About this Saturday for me, my birthday's next week, so the wife's taking me out Saturday, and she actually said to me, Alicia, there's no Everton, you're not going to be looking, and you're not going to be looking at there's no Premier League There's no other games going on, you're thinking, I'll need to watch this, because it's... So she can actually have a drink with me in peace. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to that myself, but again, I think it was going to be a short one this week. Just a shout out to Globe, as always. You'll have seen the ads at the start. I mentioned on the Instagram the other week when we posted something about them. Lee comes on and sort of my boy. It was that period when the snow come and all that and the ice and whatever. But again, fantastic lads. The kitchen, which you can't see it, I'm looking at. They were a big part of sorting that out. Top lads, really good firm. So again, any bathroom stuff you need doing, any kitchen, any gas related or plumbing stuff, get on them. Really good. You'll see the the link in our
go
socials.
Go on our Instagram. So Instagram is @AcrossTheParkPC, and the first pinned post is the advert linked into Globe. It'll take you to their socials, and you can see for yourself some of the amazing work they do, and really great prices as well. And he's a top lad, Scouser, Evertonian. Always helps, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, especially because the aftercare is brilliant, as I say. But if there's ever any issues, they're out straight away to sort it. So give them a look. Shout out to Their Clothing as well. We've got one more week left on that code, so it's ATP25, which you can use that at checkout. That gets you 25% off. They do loads of tees like the one I've got on now. Polos, again, going into the summer. There's still some cracking sale stuff on there, so you can get 25% on top of the sale items. So good chance for you. There's one more week left to go on that. As I'm looking at my watch, like it's going to tell me that I've got the date on this one, but yeah, there's one more week left to go on the code, so take advantage of that. But I think that's about all, Mills, for this one.
The only thing that's sprung out to me last night was the news that the stadium.
Sorry, yeah.
I think that the Lango Roar contract, someone's revealed that it's going to end in December 2024. Everyone's thinking, bloody hell, I thought we were going to be in by August 2024. The club have always said Everton will be in their stadium for the 24-25 season, but they've never said at the start of the season ticket.
I mean, listen.
The next season tickets didn't even say last
season.
I was
going to say that just can't happen. You can't move stadiums. How's that going to work?
Are they going to let that stadium just with the potential revenue sit for another 6 months? Though?
They might not. They might use it for events and concerts and this, which would be weird. Yeah, our stadium being used. That'd be proper Everton, wouldn't it? The Coppers going to our stadium first before us to watch friggin' bloody Bon Jovi or something.
Yeah, I'd like some. I know it's hard because of the construction and time and stuff. I'd like some sort of like communication from the club and just say like, are we going to be in?
I know. I mean, that is a strange one. Classic Everton again. I don't want to go into the whole criticising the board or communications again, but come on. If that comes out, you've got to be ready, haven't you, to go bang.
Yeah,
this is the position.
You'd like to think at some point, some communication.
I mean, what I will say, I've got a few friends who've got corporate tickets. They were invited down to the Liver buildings last week to actually pick their seats.
Oh, right, okay.
So they had the headsets on and they can actually sit where the seat's going to be and stuff like that. So that started happening. They weren't told whether it was going to be whatever season. It was just assuring them that, look, you're going to get preference over where you sit and stuff. And there's obviously a lot more corporate tickets than in the new stadium.
There might be an Alan Myers, again, friend of the show, Alan Myers, and he's a credible journalist. He said on his socials last night, could still be in by August. It's just that we've discovered the construction ends in December.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to, in fairness, that's standard from a construction point of view. You've got to have that leeway just in case it runs over. Yeah. Because if they start contracting their other workers to other jobs and there's still stuff to do, then it's themselves giving them. You don't
want them in July on a go slow, do you?
No, exactly. I'm done here.
You're half day today.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it'd be nice to get an announcement. I think going back to the previous example, you put of us moving in halfway through. I don't know how that could work.
It would be the most effort thing ever.
It would be, how would that work? And again, it'd be the whole Goodison send off would be weird. It's really strange.
October. Chef Weather Home.
Chef Weather Home. That's 2 promotions.
Exactly, Doncaster
2 promotions on the bounce.
I'm only messing, I'm positive, don't worry.
But yeah.
No more shows coming up this week, but we're talking, aren't we, to a few people to get on.
Yeah, I've got a few guest lines.
Trying to get them on.
A few really decent guest lines.
We've had 2 yeses, just moving calendars and schedules around, so we're hoping in this break there'll be 2. Not so much extras, but guests on to talk to me and Judgy. And some content, because we're aware that content is only, we've just been doing 1 a week. We got let down on it. He's not watching, so I'll just say some Chelsea fan let us down last week. We couldn't find a Brentford fan 2 weeks ago to do one with, so we know that the past few weeks we've only done 1 show. So we are trying to do a bit more. There's obviously not going to be a match preview, but we're speaking to some people to come on and give you some good content, aren't we?
I'm actually going to the England game on Sunday.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, it's like a corporate thing, but I'm going to driving down on Sunday to a Sting game. I'm not a big fan of international footy.
The Reds won't like
that. I hope whoever's give me the tickets doesn't hear me say that, but
the Reds won't like that, you know.
No, I know.
When you get back into the group.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it'll be good. I mean, just in case of red comments, I haven't been to Wembley for a few years, so at least it's a chance for me to go down and go. Exactly. I'll just say it just before they say it. But that's my weekend. I'm not getting a break from footy quite.
Enough, and I'll be out on the...
no stress though.
I'll tell you what, we were out on Paddy's night, Judgy was over in Ireland, but me and our lads were out in town, and a few people came over and said hello, said they watched the podcast. I'd had a few Guinnesses, so I can't remember your names, but if you're watching this, thanks for coming over. We love that, don't we?
It's great round the match now. We get a lot more. I mean, admittedly, when we done it with the Reds, hardly anyone would speak to us. So
we've got cold complaints and
everything. No. But it is nice, and it is appreciated. Just people say, listen to the podcast, whatever. And as we always say, even if it's a bit of a negative take, it's all good banter.
Yes, with our mates as well, and people come over and say nice things to us as boss.
Yeah, it's
show nice. Our mates.
It is, yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think that's about all, Millsy. We just managed to get this in after your work today, so we'll get it out. It'll be Tuesday night, obviously, or Wednesday when you're watching this.
Yeah, it'll be about an hour or so, about 7 o'clock.
We'll get a bit more content out, as Millsy said this week, but we'll keep you posted. But again, thanks as always for your support. Thanks for watching. Up the fucking toffees.
The toffees.